Yeah, well, somebody on Facebook said to me, the Zionists, that is, they start calling us racist. This is what he wrote. The Zionists are nothing but fascist racist. What have wormed, well, see in his English, what have wormed the way into governments. I don't know what he means. Of course, he's right. I mean, in Theodore Herzl's first speech in the first place, way back in 1898, and that's what he did, done it. He done it. He said to the Zionists, and the Zionists must sweep across Europe, infiltrate all the governments, and if you can't infiltrate a government, infiltrate political parties instead. That way, eventually, when those political parties are voted for by the general Muppets, as I'm calling them, he never said that. I'm saying that. Then they will become government, and the countries in Europe will have Zionist governments who will love the Zionist state, which hadn't even been created way back in 1898, obviously. This was Herzl's forward thinking before he died in 1904 anyway. And then the lunatics took over the. He died in 1904. And that was his Zionist organisation. And it's still going strong 126 years later over in the Zionist state. For those people who are that stupid, Israel I'm talking about. Yeah. Still over there. It's still in one piece and it's still going strong, it seems. Yeah, that is what happened actually. Over the decades. I mean, you always had English Zionism. This is why they traipsed across Africa and all that, and did to America. They did to America and turned it all white, and done the same with Canada and Australia. Of course, half of Europe followed the English across to Africa and thought it was a great idea. There were no laws in those days or anything. There still aren't any laws today either against slavery. No. If you think there are laws against slavery or laws against, stealing other people's resources and stealing their countries and all that, then you're an idiot. Yeah. Who created all those international laws? The Zionists. The Zionists refined themselves years ago. They started refining themselves during World War II when they were holding all these meetings. Because, well before World War II, they already knew what was going to happen to the Jews. And it did. And that's why Theodore Herzl, sorry, not Theodore Herzl, what was his name? One of the Zionists stood in the field in Palestine and stated that one count Palestine was worth all the Jews in Europe. That was in the 1920s. And Child, the second chairperson, to the two chairpersons in there. And none of them were poor, obviously. It's a rich man's thing, Zionism. It was there. Still is today, obviously. Yeah, way back in the 1920s, he made that statement. And he only stated it to one person. He stated it to the first chair of the British Christian Zionist Federation. That's what it was called then. Today it's still going strong too, and it's got a slightly different name. The Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, or Ireland, something like that. You can Google it, come up anyway. Google will know what you're talking about, and it'll bring it up anyway. The new name. But way back in those days, it was the British Christian Zionist Federation, and under that name, yeah, they were having lots of meetings with Adolf Hitler, by the way. Of course they were, and that's recorded all over history too. You can't miss it. But they weren't doing it to save the Jewish people. What the fuck? All the Jews already said no to Zionism, and they didn't want to take part in that stupid Israel that people still call a country today. It's not a country. It can't be a country. It can never be a country. And it's not a country right now. Don't matter what anybody thinks. If you think that Israel's a country, you're not right up here. There's something wrong with you, isn't there? Like maybe you're brainwashed by Zionists or some bloody thing. Maybe you're one yourself and you don't even know it yet. If you're brainwashed by them, then you're slowly becoming them. Uh-oh. Cool. Oh, fuck off. Where is it? Say, give me a tick. Oh, fucking hell. Phone! You piece of shit. Where are we? Where's the co-op? Oh, his friend request can fuck on Facebook. Ah, there it is. Thank God for that. Yeah. Track your co-op delivery. Yeah. So, listen, you leave it sitting there and it'll tell me when they're about to approach. Close to it. Soon. Yeah, we know. So anyway. Yeah, Israel. It's not. They like to call it a country. They want to try and have the world. Want every single person like me and you and everybody else to believe that Israel's a country. That Israel is. It's not legal. It's never been legal. It's not even legal by their own laws that they created, international laws. And they created them all. There wasn't any one Zionist that took part in creating any international law in this world today. And the general public doesn't know anything about it. They don't know that these people that were on television being announced all over the news, they've been at this meeting and they've been at that meeting, they've created this law, they've created that law. The general public weren't to know. That was quick. There you go. Anyway, that was quick. Thanks for that. Merry Christmas. That's done. So what was I saying? Yeah, all international laws are all created by Zionists. The World Health Organization, all the big players in it, as you know, America, Britain, France, Germany, they're all Zionists. I could come clean about World War II, but there's no point. As far as Germany's concerned, there's no point. People have been brought up to believe the Zionist narrative, and that's it. And and there's not much to it, is there? There's not much to it. All the Germans hated the Jews, so they murdered them all, and that was it. And apparently they gassed them all too. There was a genuine Holocaust, yes, a real Holocaust, and it wasn't the first Holocaust in the world either. In case you all think, and the majority of people really believe that was the only Holocaust there ever was. That there was no such a thing as Holocaust until the Jews got murdered over in Europe, not just in Germany, but across all of Europe. Actually, Jews were getting murdered willy-nilly, including in France, by the way. The French, oh, we're invaded by the Germans. And why do you think that is? Fucking assholes. They had two companies over in the centre, the centre of Germany, taking part in the work programme, which was the Holocaust. Yeah. All these Zionist business people from different countries in the world, by the time Theodore Herzl's Zionists were finished, they were all over the place. And they took their businesses and all that with them to these different countries. So they were well spread. By the time World War II came, even 1933 actually, when Adolf Hitler became Chancellor, there was Zionists in Germany too, and nobody knew. Nobody knew. The people that brought Adolf Hitler to Germany from Vienna when he was trying to become an artist, they knew. None of them were Zionists, of course. That was all Germany had of an army at the time. It wasn't much way back then. But basically, the work programme, that was the Holocaust. The Zionist narrative, they like us to believe this, they like us to believe that, and most of the world does, and so did I until years ago. And while I was going through that history, and it took 3.5 years or something. It takes a long time. You can't just fucking Google something and it's going to spring up. You know what I mean? All the history of the world's not on Google, actually. No, of course not. All the Zionist history, of course, is on bloody Google, isn't it? And Google is. Yeah, Google, I'm on your YouTube doing this. And yeah, you're Zionists. Well, no, maybe not the workers, the people at the very top of Google. And a lot of them are governmental, American, clearly, as we all know. It's more or less a government organisation. Google's been that way for years. You know. So, silently having all the power over all its users. Very silently. That's dangerous. That's so fucking dangerous, that, by the way. Well, when you have a big power, it's a big power, it's a big organisation, right? Google. And it's made up of all these other little organisationlets, or whatever you want to call them, that are all combined from all different areas of government. It's all enmeshed in, you know, and it's all more or less as governmental. There are a few areas here and there, a few little private companies that are not governmental, but because they are cooperating with the government, you may as well just call them governmental anyway. Yeah, Google's a mishmash of no users, basically. And most of these organisations, Zionists as a whole, are no users anyway. We all know. But they created all the laws and they created everything. And all your international. That's it. Why do you think the EU and the British government They always bang on about, now and again, about human rights when it suits them. Even though they've got homeless, piles of homeless all over the gutters, all over the EU, all over England, all over Scotland, all over Wales, Northern Ireland, and yet they bang on about human rights. And all the general public, of course, in the UK are stupid enough to believe that we've got human rights in Britain. No, we don't. If we had human rights in Britain, you tell that to the homeless people in the gutters. You tell that to people over the 13 years that starved to death in their own homes, or close to death in their own homes. You tell that to their families, that we've got human rights. All those mugs on Facebook that believe that shit, they're mugs. I don't take anything to do with cunts like that. The minute I see somebody saying that, if they haven't given my friends list, I'll try and explain that. If you can't get it through their thick skulls, then I just block people. I don't like people like that. People who are that stupid and moronic that they don't get it. I mean, we've seen it over 13 years. Headlines, until Theresa May banned those headlines about people dying in their own homes and all the rest of it through the cold and starvation, and they actually committing suicide through poverty. And I knew one man who did that not too far from here. 6 o'clock in the morning, went out with a big rope and he hung himself from a disused railway bridge. And he wasn't an alcoholic or anything like that, or a junkie or fuck all like that. You know? He just had enough of shit Britain, man. Yeah. That was all that was wrong with him. And tons of people done that. And it's not been. Probably the government will have they'll have figures, but they're never going to release them on the amount of people who've killed themselves through their policies. Yeah, if you want to call that human rights, British, you go ahead, you call that human rights, oh yeah. But all the Human Rights Act and everything else, everything, all the international laws for trading, big companies trading, small companies trading, you know, even the stock markets and all that, all set up by Zionists. Everything is Zionist. Everything is Zionist. And this is why they don't like it. Years ago, I used to see it quite a few. Used to see it mentioned a lot years ago, about 10 years ago or something. All these sort of conspiracy theorists coming up with all these things, and they were all mistakenly shouting out. And it was, they were mistaken. The Jews do not rule the world. No. All those authentic Jewish people on here that's put their videos on here to tell you about Israel. Nah, they don't rule the world. Don't be silly. It's a big mistake to think Israel does not rule the world either. And it's a big mistake to think they're Jewish in the first place. And the biggest liars in the world are the Israelis. You don't have to Google that one. But then again, this is the point, because Google will put other things in your way. Fucking guarantee you they will. And you won't get that question answered if you type that in. Are Israelis the biggest liars in the world? You might, I don't know. There might be websites that will pop up with people talking about it. There could be, I don't know. But I don't think Google will allow that. That's the thing about Google. It is Zionist. It is. Yeah. So it's Facebook. I'm still not sure about X. I'm still not 100% sure on Elon Musk yet. He's still to prove himself one way or another. Because of what he stated about rebuilding, helping Israel to rebuild Gaza. But clearly Israel's not rebuilding Gaza. That's what they're calling it. so that everybody will accept it. What they're going to be doing is building a brand new city on top of what used to be Gaza. There is no Gaza now, it's gone. And that came straight from the mouth of a woman who's right in the heart of the bombing areas in Gaza. She said there's no Gaza anymore, then there's no Gaza anymore. Something like that. So the Zionists, anyway, they do control much of everything, if not everything, anyway. But then again, they were the ones that won the war, and you were all happy. All your parents, not so much your parents, your grandparents, and your great grandparents were all happy that the good guys won the war. Because they all believed them to be the good guys, didn't they? British government and all that bollocks. Yeah. That's the Conservative Party and the Labour Party combined, coalition government. Yeah, they were the good guys, Oh yeah. And now look, still the good guys, though, aren't they? And there's going to be some good guys voting for Labour next year, because they're also the good guys, aren't they? Yeah. 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 No, I won't vote for Labour. I mean, even if Labour had to change on the face of it and become a left-wing socialist party again, which is impossible. It would only be on the face of it. There's no way I would ever vote for that again. The minute something's turned Zionist, that's it, it's gone. It's finished. It's kaput. It doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't actually, Labour doesn't exist anymore. It's just a namesake. That's all it'll ever be. Even if by some miracle Jeremy Corbyn ended up the leader of it again, which would be a bloody miracle, it'd still be the same old shit show as before. He'd be the leader in name only, while other people in the background, Zionists, would be running the party. No, fuck that. I don't want anything to do with rubbish like that. That is rubbish. That is rubbish. I mean, what the fuck? If you can't get have a decent political party that's strong, and it is what it says it is, because it's strong, and a political party like that does not want weak members. It doesn't want weak members that are going to be sitting their asses and expecting them not to do it. Oh, we don't have to do anything. I'm just a member. I joined it. I pay my dues. A quid a month or some bollocks like that, you know. And you're like, fuck off. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point of becoming a member of a political party if you're just, you know, it's just, oh, there's my Labour card. It's not. There's only two pieces of paper stuck together. Fucking rubbish. It ruined my wallet actually years ago. That did. All the red dye came off it all over inside of my wallet. And that red dye still there today inside that wallet. Yeah. So, yeah, it's Zionism. It does control everything. It controls your education system, controls your hospitals. It controls everything. It does. Only because it's in the government. Sunak, Jacob Rees-Mogg, you know, a whole lot of them. You've heard them all anyway. What they've got to say about Israel. And the only reason they're back in that, it's not a belief or any bollocks like that. It's not about money. That's why they call it political endeavour. And these days, actually, over in Israel, They've even got religious, is what they call religious Zionism. It doesn't exist. There has never been a religion called Zionism, and there never will be. It's just made up. Like anybody can make up a religion. I mean, and call it religious socialism. It's a made up, it's not a real religion. It's not a religion that came about through belief or anything. He just made it up. He just made it up. It's like Israel. They just made that up too. They invented it. It is invented. And it was only day before yesterday or something. That was actually stated again by Biden. And he said this before years ago. There's quite a lot of them said this years ago, over the years. If there wasn't an Israel, we'd have to invent one. And really, that was him telling you something that you didn't get. You didn't get that message, did you? That he conveyed to the world. Nah. If there wasn't an Israel, we would have to invent one. Well, what he's conveying to the world there is that they did invent Israel. Of course. If you look at any of the maps before the 1940s, you go back to the beginning of the 20th century, you won't see Israel on any map. From before the 1930s backwards, go back as far as you want to go. Go back thousands of years if you like, if you can find a map on the internet, that's that old, which I doubt. You never know. But there won't be any Israel on that either. The Israelites did not live in Israel. No. I can't remember what you called it, but it wasn't bloody called Israel, I can assure you that. And the Israelites were not Jews either. But strangely enough, they were particularly nasty people, the Israelites. Way back in those days, they always were. And you don't have to read about it, in the Bibles, in the Bible. And you can see that they're not particularly nice people. And they were the ones that did. And this is what the Zionists are trying to do. That's why they created Israel, named it after the goddess of war, Israel. And Benjamin Netanyahu tried to turn around and say that we are descendants of the Israelites. How the fuck can they be? They came from fucking white Eastern Europe. That's where he came from. That's what his parents were, bloody Zionist Poles, basically. And that's why people mistakenly call him Polish. I don't know what he is. He's not Polish. Because he wasn't born in Poland. His parents were Polish, yes. That doesn't necessarily make him Polish. Because he was born in Israel. He's not an Israeli. There's no such thing as an Israeli. But what that makes him, I don't know. What that makes all the so-called Israelis, I don't know. They're not Israelis. Because there is no country called Israel. It's a country called Palestine. It doesn't matter what way you look at it. You can dress it up any way you like. It's still a country called Palestine. It's been thieved, basically, because of all the natural gas underneath Palestine and all the oil that's there. That's why. And that's why they took America too. That's why you had umpteen different gold rushes and what have you, before anybody struck any oil. And then you had lots of oil rushes too. Always happens. Even over in Australia it happened. They found oil over there. They find other different. They do have different minerals over there that they don't have in America. and we won't have in the Middle East either, or Europe, and certainly not in Britain. Everything they steal, every country they steal, it's always a country rich in minerals and oil and gas, possibly. But one thing's for sure, it's always long term, it's going to make their descendants a fortune. Not them particularly, because by the time they take to do anything, it takes Zionists a long time to plan things out and what have you, so that no mistakes are made and nobody can argue with it, even though people are arguing with it today. But it doesn't matter what anybody says or anything else, they're just going to keep marching ahead because the world has allowed them to. People have been voting in politicians for generations now, and unbeknown to them, that's the thing. People have been voting in politicians there. But I like what he says. I like where he's coming from. Do you really? Do you know where he's coming from? No, you don't. You're not listening to what he's saying, and you think what he's saying is where he's coming from. That's stupid for a start. Yeah. Just because someone says something doesn't mean you say, oh, that's where they're coming from. No, it's not. Don't be ridiculous, man. The Zionists will say anything to get elected. In fact, these days, you can see how it's turning very bad today. Three times we've had a government in Britain that has not been elected by the general public. It's been elected by the Conservatives. They wanted a new leader, so they elected him into power themselves. Well, what they call power anyway. What the British call power, it's not power. It's only power if you're dumb enough to believe that it is, and you do. That's three dictatorships we've had, and this one at the moment, Sunak, is a third dictatorship. That's what that is. A government votes in a new leader on its own. Doesn't involve the general public. It's nothing to do with them. What's it got to do with them? They're only fucking general public, you know. They're only there to make us welfare. That's all they're there for. We don't care. We'll vote on who we want to be our leader, not their leader. They don't have a leader. They're only general public. They're nothing. Nada. They'll look at you with contempt. They'll look down on you with contempt. Of course they do. And just quite as easily as what's happening to people in Gaza could quite easily happen to you. But the people in Britain don't believe that because they're all fucked up here. Oh, they don't believe in. Oh, no. How could that possibly happen here? Well, you never know. If it ever did, you'd get a nasty shock, wouldn't you? And they'd still be sitting on their arses in Britain, by the way. Sitting there waiting on the final whistle from a bullet of a British soldier's rifle or something. Or a bomb landing on their heads from the Royal Air Force. Yeah. I don't think it can happen. These Zionists have no morals, they don't care. I mean, people are only people to them. If they are that, actually. Yeah, they serve Zionism, they don't serve the general public. They don't give a fuck about the general public. They only care about Zionism because it keeps them with plenty of that. And that got a blokes right on Facebook. Yeah, they did worm their way in over the decades, and nobody even noticed. Because how can you tell that somebody's a Zionist without asking them, do you support Israel? Where do you stand on the Gaza thing, you know? Just by looking at them. You don't know. Of course you don't. Yeah. No, unless you want to interrogate them. That's the only way you're going to find out. And that's how they managed to worm their way in. Because everybody was dumb enough. Look at Tony Blair. Everybody loved Tony Blair. That's why he got voted in. The whole country voted him in. Apart from me. I didn't vote at all that year in 1997. Yeah. And everybody loved Tony Blair. Until he done Iraq. In fact, they started after about 6 months after he got voted in 1997. People started having second thoughts, but it was a bit late then. But nobody knew he was a Zionist or anything like that then. We know that now. Oh yeah, he'll be back in Israel all right. He'll be back on all the murder of the Palestinian men, women and children over there. Just like the rest of them. Of course. That's the mess the world's in today. They don't care about crime either. I mean, if all the general publics went around killing each other, they're not going to bring any new laws out or anything like that to try and curb that. They don't care about law enforcement. That's why they get rid of, chop down all your police and everything. And they chop down all your court judges and all that too. Because they're Zionists. They don't have to live out here where we live. So they don't really care much about it. So long as it keeps making them money. That's it. That's the world we're in today. And it's not going to get any better. Not over in Gaza. Not over in the West Bank. And certainly not in your country where you live at the moment. Even if you do live in shitey Britain. It's not going to get any better. Don't matter who you vote for. You vote for a Zionist, and you're fucked in the head. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't make any difference who votes for what next year in Britain. Doesn't matter. One party is going to follow the previous party's lead and continue the shit show. Whether it be the shit show here or supporting the shit show over there. With the Zionist machine called Israel. The Zionist money making machine, that's all that is. And all these people, poor bastards that were born there, that actually believe it's a country and they're Israelis. They'll always believe that. They're brought up to believe that. And yet, that was the whole point of bringing Zionists over there in the first place. So they would bring their children up to believe that Israel has always been there for thousands of years. And that it's a country and everything else. Not just a country, but a biblical country, which it's not. Never was. Palestine is a biblical country. The number one biblical country. You can't top that one. You can destroy it if you like, if you're an asshole. And that's what they're doing. Sooner or later, probably in the next 10, 20, 30 years or something, there won't be any, the Holy Land will be gone. There won't be any Bethlehem or anything like that, but they will still call Israel the Holy Land, like they've been doing all my lifetime, when all along Israel is not a bloody Holy Land. It's just a made-up name, a made-up, country base. It's not a country. It's sitting on the country of Palestine. But, nobody really cares about it. But you should. Simply because all these people that are causing all those problems and murdering all the Palestinians, yeah, they're your governments. All your governments are all part of that. It's not just Benjamin Netanyahu you can blame. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to put all the blame on him. He's the fall guy. And he'll probably be being told what to do as well, by the way. All those clowns that are in his government from all different countries. Not one of them ever born in Israel. Only him. The next Prime Minister over there that replaces him will be in Israel too. Why are these government officials around and changed to brand new government officials remains? But they're only there to keep an eye on him, to make sure he does what Zionism wants him to do. And he probably knows his part. He's bound to have grasped that by now. I mean, the last thing you want to do is do something like that, what he's doing right now. I mean, you would think he would maybe did know. Maybe he did know before he started doing that. What was, he's a ball guy, And you can't really. I mean, probably if he'd have tried to resign, they'd have let him resign, of course. But probably in a few years' time, he'd be headlines material. And died of some heart defect or whatever, Probably. Just in case he talks. Yeah. So whoever replaces him, well, it's got to be somebody that's born in Israel. So the Israelis keep believing that that's a country. It cannot be anybody outside of Israel. But all the government officials are not. One of them, none of them were ever born in Israel. That's how stupid the people born in Israel are. They're just as stupid as the bloody British man. They don't even see that. They don't see that for what it is. Yeah. So the world's got to accept it with its 8.5 million overpopulation. It was all born there. But that's the thing. The world doesn't. The only thing that's keeping it the way it is the Zionists themselves who control all international laws and the United Nations and United Nations Security Council. Anytime you see all those countries voting, the people at the top of that Security Council and the people at the top of the UN know perfectly well they're all name themselves as Zionist bastards. And why it was created, the United Nations. And that's why Israel's in the United Nations Security Council. The most untrustworthy entity that's not a country on earth as a member of the UN Security Council. And it's not even a country. Shows you how legitimate the UN is not. None of these organisations are. No matter what you're looking at. Because they're all Zionist controlled, all Zionists run. And it's all Zionists that work within them all. It's that simple. Yeah. So things won't get any better. Not over in Gaza, not over in the West Bank, not here in Britain, not over in the EU, but the general public's over there either. Yeah. None's ever going to improve, man. Can't improve. Because that's not the way the Zionists don't work for us. They work for themselves. They work for a higher cause, you know. And that's nothing to do with us. Anyway, I'm out of here.